What you eating? Those pickled peppers? Are they good? Good.
But a little spicy.
A little spicy.
But delightful. Welcome to the H3 kitchen. Today, we're gonna pickle some stuff. We're pickling banana peppers, we're pickling okra, and we're pickling pickles. While I'm chopping up these peppers, I'm gonna explain the difference between a water bath canner and a pressure canner. So a water bath canner is essentially a big pot with a lid. It's really simple. It just uses heat to process the food. Some foods can safely be water bath canned, but not all foods. So before you can any food, first you have to figure out whether or not it is safe to water bath can or whether you have to use a pressure canner. I don't have a pressure canner, so right now I'm only canning things that require a water bath canner. So pickles can be water bath canned because they are very acidic. The brine of the pickles is a vinegar and salt brine, and it preserves the food just fine without the pressure canner. Some things like meat and certain vegetables like green beans and things like that have to be pressure canned to avoid the risk of botulism because they're not acidic enough on their own to kill botulism spores. So it is a real risk and you have to can safely. So I use recipes from the Ball Mason Jars website. Those are safe, tested recipes. And I also use recipes from the nchfp website. And we'll put those links in the description or the comments. But you have to use a safe, tested recipe or you are running the risk of having food that is tainted with botulism spores or bacteria. So since we're pickling today, we can go ahead and just use our water bath canner. So I'm preparing the brine for our banana peppers. And a brine is basically a vinegar and salt solution that's going to pickle the vegetables. Now, when you use a safe tested recipe like this one on the nchfp website, actually this one's from Ball, you can change the spices. That's pretty much the only thing you can change. You have to use the proper vinegar to water to salt ratio in order to end up with a safe product, but you can change out your dry spices. So my favorite pickling spices are really simple. I like to use mustard seed, dill in some things, and black pepper corns. I also like to use celery seed sometimes, and I like to put garlic in a lot of things that I pickle. A lot of recipes will let you use the garlic in making the brine, and then they want you to remove the garlic clove. It can just help it keep longer. But for refrigerated pickles, I leave the garlic in. But you can use white vinegar or apple cider vinegar. Right now I'm actually using a mix. I kind of like the tang of apple cider vinegar. And we were also running low on white vinegar. So I'm gonna go ahead and make the brine and then we'll pack our jars. So now what I'm about to do is take my hot jars. My jars have been in the water bath canner since I started it. I'm gonna take the hot jars out. I'm going to cold pack them with my peppers. And a cold pack just means I'm putting the peppers in cold. I haven't cooked the peppers. When you hot pack something, it's usually for like a jelly or a jam. When you've cooked whatever it is that you're canning and you put it into the hot jars while it's hot. now I'm ladling my pickling liquid into my jars. And something that's important to note is that the recipe will usually tell you how much head space to leave. So that means how much space you're gonna leave at the top of the jar that is air. And this recipe calls for 1/2 inch of head space. So I'll show you what that looks like. I'm gonna do one jar here, just to show you all kind of the process, and then I'll do the rest. See that air gap between the liquid and the top of the jar? That is our 1/2 inch of headspace. And I'm gonna add a little bit of this pickle crisp, these pickle crisp granules to my jar. And then I'm gonna put my lid on. Wait, first I'm gonna wipe the rim of the jar. Although I used a funnel, it's not always perfect. So I'm just gonna wipe the rim, make sure there's no liquid around my jar that will impede the seal. Then I'm gonna put my canning lid on, and I'm gonna put my ring on, and I'm going to finger tighten. So finger tighten just means like that. It doesn't mean as tight as I can get it with my fingers. It's literally, I'll do it one more time. It's literally just like that. And now we're gonna put them in the water bath canner and process for 10 minutes, and then we'll be pretty much done. All right, we've got our banana peppers out of the water bath canner, and we're gonna let them sit here undisturbed for about 24 hours before we put them away. And when we put them away for storage, we're going to take off the rings and leave the sealed canning lid on. And that is just so that you can see if they've spoiled or unsealed. If you leave the ring on, it's really hard to tell if one of them has unsealed a little bit. And you can hear them sealing now. They're kind of making that like pinging sound. That means that the jar is sealing itself. So tomorrow, within 24 hours, all of the little indentations on the tops of the lids should be sucked downwards so that when you push it, it can't pop. You know, like when you pop a can of spaghetti sauce and the top will like ping a little bit when you pop it. They shouldn't do that. And if they're depressed and not sticking up, then they've sealed and they're safe to put away in your pantry. All right, we're gonna finish up today's pickling extravaganza, and we'll see you next time in H3 Kitchen.